Hi there girls, and welcome to Art Tutorial 2 from Series 2. Today I am going to show you how to colour blend your Frangipani petals, and as you see, here's an example. I've also done the blue colour blending and then blue and purple. I've done that in oil pastels, and then I've also got the example of where I've painted these petals with acrylic oil and acrylic paints. They're water based, and here's also another one that I did in acrylic paint. And yes, girls, so I'll show you how to color blend the petals and then also how to assemble the petals into a beautiful Frangipani flower. Right, so in tutorial 1, I showed you how to do your petal. Great, so now you take your petal, and it's very much, I think I'll do a purple one in oil pastel. It's very much the same as what you did your 2D color blending. So here we've got the purple from your Pentel oil pastel range. We've got the pink number 15, the old rose, the pale orange, and the white. Great, so we start at the bottom and just press nice and hard. There we go. Lovely oily medium to work in. And then we go to the back. Don't forget the edges. And then press quite hard so you don't see any bits of that white folded paper. And then that's our darkest tone. Great. All round. So here is the full. So this will be a bit more in shadow where the other petal overlaps this petal. So we're going to do it a bit darker. Depends on which side. The other one, the full is on this side. So wherever you've got your full, that you've curled, your full curl, you do the darker shade on the opposite side. So in this case, I did it this side. So the darker tone will be on the opposite side of the full. Right. So press nice and hard. Excellent. Then we'll go on to our pink, and we overlap the darker purple tone, the color, and then we blend it by overlapping using nice circular movements. You can always go back to your purple again and softly integrate it. There we go. And at the back as well. Just be careful you don't get that dark color on your lighter pink when you turn it around. So choose a clean spot to place your petal on. Great, and then we press hard and we color blend. Excellent, a little bit of integration there. And there we go. Great, and now we move on to the old rose. Can you see? Yes. Again, we just carry on doing the same, overlapping the previous color, overlapping and blending into the pink, and then overlapping and blending, oopsie daisy, can you see? Yes, into the pink. Nice and smooth. If you need to go back and do a bit more blending, if it's not gradual, there we go. And then at the end we use our, well, almost at the end, our pale orange. We're going to use white at the very end. We overlap. A lovely, lovely fleshy color this is. And then at the back as well. See, I'm using circular movements. And then finally, we go to our white, which is always nice to end with. Overlapping and then all the way can do it white. If we think it's too white, we can always put a little bit of this pale orange. Is it pale orange? Yes, it is. We can always, if it's too stark, just blend a bit in. Great. There we go. Lovely petal. And then at the back as well. Oopsie. And press hard where you meet the previous colored. Well, if it's lighter, it's called a tint, just to make them integrated nicely. And then if need be, you go back and then you press a bit lighter if it hasn't blended all that well. But you'll feel your way as you carry on. Like I always say, your art talks to you. It's a bit lighter. It's your own personal journey of discovery. Hey, very exciting. There we go. Great, girls. You decide, maybe a bit more pale orange there. And there we go. And there is your, oopsie. There we go. There is your nice purple and pink petal. Okay, so oopsie daisy, needed to go pink, eh? So there we go, round it off nicely. So this is the oil pastel tonal blending. Let me just show you the other tones that I've used. The tonal blending colors. So that's that one. And for the blue one, I've used the very dark blue. I think it's called Prussian, yes, Prussian blue. So you would obviously start with the circular movement. You go very dark, press hard, and then you go to your next tone, which is your ultramarine, overlapping your Prussian, then your cobalt, overlapping your ultramarine blue, and then you go to your pale blue, overlapping your cobalt blue, and then you would go finally to your white, overlapping your pale blue, and there we go. So that's that colored tone, the blending. And then here with this one, with this one, I've done with these two. I've just started with the darkest. I've started with the darkest Prussian blue, and then I've gone on to ultramarine blue, and then I've gone on to the purple, overlapping, and then what I also did with my initial one, then the pink, the old rose, the pale orange, always overlapping so they merge, and then you go onto the white paper with the new color that you use, and then the white at the end. Oopsie daisy, there we go, the white at the end. Lovely. And with this one, this petal here, let me just move these. With that petal, I have started with the red, then I've gone to the vermilion, then I've moved on to the orange, the normal orange, then the yellow orange, then the chrome yellow, then the lemon yellow, and then the white. Okay, and I see I've even added a tiny bit of purple just to darken it there by the red. Okay, girls, there we go. So those are your different tonal blends, and then I will show you now how to blend them with acrylic paint, your petals. Thanks, girls. I'll see you now. Hi there, girls. I'm back again. Well, I suppose I don't see you, but wait till I chat to you again. That's the better way of saying it too. Excellent, girls. Well, now we're going to color blend this petal with acrylic paint, and I'm using this artist acrylic paint. You can also get the acrylic paint in these containers, or there's some of the shops even decanter them into smaller containers. And yes, but these tube ones are nice and convenient to buy. The only thing is they don't have nice purples. So at school we buy from Bits and Pieces, they wholesalers, and then I've decanted some purple and pinks. So but also at some of the art shops, you can, I know at the Village Hardware in Glenwood shopping centre in Chez Javira Road, they sell these acrylic paints, and they decanter them into the smaller containers. Right, girls, so I'm going to use this blue paint. I'm going to paint a blue petal. So you don't use a lot of paint. You can always squeeze out more. But once you've squeezed out your color, it's difficult. Well, obviously you can't put it back in the tube, so we don't want to waste. So we'd rather just squeeze out a little bit at a time, and we can always afterwards take more if we need to. Right, so I start with the dark blue, going lighter, and then the white at the end. Excellent. So you'll need water, you'll need a little cloth, and of course your paint brushes. Great. So let's go ahead. So you know how this works by now. You dip your paintbrush in the water. Don't have it too wet. You don't want the paint too runny. And then you take your acrylic paint, mix it a bit, and then oh, this is so lovely to paint. You just put your darker tone at the bottom. Now, acrylic paint does dry quite fast, and it's got plastic in it. So you need to paint wet in wet. You don't want to have like border lines where it goes from one tone to another. So you want to blend it in nicely while it's wet. There we go. And it goes quite quickly. Before we know, we're going to be done. Let's put a bit more shadow on this side. Great. And now I think let's move on to the white. So I always clean my brush with painting. You always clean your brush, and then you dry it. So it's not too watery, and then you go on to your next tint or tone or color. If you add white, it's called a tint, and if you add black, it's called a tone. So darker colors when you do tonal blending are called tones, and lighter ones are tints. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Let me just dry it a bit. Oh, excuse me. When you clean it properly, dry it, go back to the blue and just blend it in a bit more there. So we're going to take the light blue a bit higher. Let's not forget the back. And there we go. I know one doesn't really get blue Frangipani flowers, but in art you can create whatever you like, because you are the creator of your artwork. So that's wonderful to know. It's fun. You can do all sorts of crazy things. Look at the modern artists, what they've created. Okay, and then we go back again. Color blending nicely. Look how nice those tones work. It's like a sky Frangipani. Beautiful. Okay, so now it's a little bit tricky. So I'm just going to the edges carefully, and then I'm adding that last bit of white in. There we go. But of course you can just do it with your oil pastels. I thought just for you to learn something new, let me show you how to use your paint it with acrylic paint too. Okay, then we clean the brush, dry it. Always work nicely with your brushes, never stab them so that the hairs go in all directions. Work gently so that you look after your paint brushes and they last for long. Okay, then we'll go back to the light blue. There we go. See how fast this paint dries. The nice thing is that acrylic paint has got plastic in it, so you can paint layer over layer without the previous layer dissolving, so to speak, as what watercolor paint does. Okay, we clean nicely, dry. Let's go to our blue. Now I'm going to mix the blue a bit with the light blue. There we go. A bit more light blue, and then I'm going to go over there. So that's also what you can do, pre-mix them and then blend in. Lovely. And then you can add a bit of white and just experiment and have fun. And I must say, painting it is a lot quicker than oil pasteling it. There we go. But I do enjoy both mediums a lot. Right, girls. So I think, let me just touch up a little bit there of the blue. Oh, that's too light. Clean the brush, dry it, go to the dark blue, and we're going to touch up a bit there. Excellent. Clean and dry. And now just blend it in. A little bit more paint. There we go. Then the lighter one again. Great, girls. So now you can choose if you want to do oil pastels. Well, if you want to stick some of the Frangipani leaves on your 2D artwork, maybe it would be nice to do those in oil pastels, and you can do some acrylic ones maybe if you want to do like a nice frame for a mirror, or you can stick fridge magnets underneath and have them as fridge magnets, Frangipani fridge magnets. The possibility is endless. Okay, it's a bit darker there, so I maybe need a little bit more white. I must work quite quickly before the paint dries. Oh, it is rather messy. Look at my hands. But you will, with experience, one does kind of learn with the tricks of the trade, hey, so to speak. So you hold it on the edges, so therefore you get a bit messy, but at least then you won't have fingerprints on the actual petals. That is a bit tricky, but like I say, practice makes perfect. Okay, girls, so there we go. Now I'm just going to check on the edges if I just love painting. If they are all painted, that's important. Make sure you use the right tone. Bit blue there. Okay. There we go. Let me touch up a bit here and there with more white. Lovely, I think that's done. Oopsie daisy, there we go, a bit more white on that edge there. That was from my thumb, I think. Great, girls. So, when it has dried a little bit, I think you can always go back and touch it up here and there. Okay. If you feel that you would be more comfortable doing that. Wonderful. Okay, girls, so there we go. Let me leave that one now. And I shall show you how to assemble your petals, but I also want to show you something else as well. Let me just switch off for now and get myself organized. Chat to you now, girls. Hi there, girls. I'm back again. Right, so now I'm going to show you how to assemble your Frangipani petals to create a flower. Right, so you need I've used the lid of a container, and you need the right size. For the bigger ones, you would use the bigger lid, or for smaller ones, a smaller lid, or for very big ones, a big lid. As you can see here with my tweenies, I'm actually using a saucer. Okay, so anything that you can rest the Frangipanis in, so that they aren't lying flat, but that they are at an angle. Just make sure you find the right size, be it a lid or a container. Not too deep. Okay, slightly shallow. These are perfect. Right, and then another thing is I've used this, this is laminating plastic. Oof, there's a bit of glue on from gluing the other Frangipanis, but that you would cut a circle of plastic. I've also used from shopping bags. You can cut a circle from shopping bags, and you place that into that container on the surface there, and then you start placing your petals. Now remember, the furl is always on the same side, and then you've got the other petal going underneath the furl. Right, so you place that one underneath, and then underneath, and then the last one, make sure you get that right. Also, there we go. So you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 furls all on the right hand side. Great, so you just make sure they place nicely. You see how important it is for them to be at an angle in a lid or a very shallow dish. Great, girls. And the plastic is also there so that when you glue them, that they don't get stuck onto the lid, but then when the glue is slightly dry, you can peel the plastic off the wood glue. Great, girls. So now we take our craft glue. And then what we do, we must just make sure we position them nicely so that they've got also interesting negative spaces. Remember those negative spaces? They all need to work well together, just more or less the same sized. Great, wonderful. And if you turn it around from all kind of angles and sides, it must just look right. Okay, nicely patterned. Great, so now what you do is you carefully slide out your petal. Now, before you do that, you need to see where it makes contact. Can you see it makes contact right there? So you would place glue onto that petal there. Okay, and then we slide it back in again. Great, carefully. And then the next one, we can also play around with it because this glue takes a while to dry. The next one we would also, down there at the bottom, put a nice blob, and you slide it back in again. Make sure it's quite secure, it's making contact. Great. And the next one also, put a blob there. Great. And then the last one, you can just lift it, or if you want to pull it out, you put a blob there as well. Okay, so you see why it's important to have that sheet of plastic underneath so that you can just peel it off. And this glue does dry transparent, so you won't see it. But still, you don't want a huge big blob of transparent glue there in the middle, so you kind of gently with a paintbrush, you dab the excess away. Okay, there we go. And that will dry nice and transparent. So you just make sure again everything does make contact. Yes. And we're happy with the design from all different sides. We turn it around. Wonderful. Yes, I think that's fine. If you still want to make a few adjustments, you can. Here and there. Bring that one a bit more out, that one in. Yes, I think that looks rather pretty. Great, girls. So that is how you do the assembling of the petals. Obviously, if you've got smaller petals, you would, I've taken the plastic packet, and then you just with a Cokie pen, sorry, here I am, with a Cokie pen, you would kind of draw a circle around the lid, and then you would cut it out but slightly smaller, okay, so that it fits nicely into that lid there. Great, girls. And then, well, these ones I still have to color blend. Then I would do my smaller Frangipani flower in there, always overlapping. Right, once that one has been color blended. Excellent. And now let me go to my tweenies. Well, last time I said they are grade 4 and 5s, but they're actually also grade 6s. Right, so tweenies just before you turn into a teenager, before you become a teenager. It's a pre-teen. So I've completed all of these petals. Give them a nice, that furl a nice curl too. So I'll just show you again. These are my nice gift wrap petal Frangipani flower. And then what we need to do is remember that we put the plastic there. Great. And then we position the petals. So these are very big, so that I could fit these girls in, these tweeny girls. So now we need to focus. That one overlaps. That one overlaps. So this one has to overlap there. And that one has to overlap there. This is really a fun one. Okay, and then we make sure they're nicely positioned. Great. Are we happy? Well, we can always still adjust them. And then we see there, we would put a blob of glue, because that one makes contact there, right? And then here, we would put a blob of glue. Can you see? Like I say, it takes a while to dry, so one can always go back again and readjust it a bit. Okay, so we'll put a blob of glue there and a blob of glue there. Great. As long as where they make contact, you put nice blobs of glue. And there we can just see, there also needs to be a blob of glue. As I've mentioned, the glue does dry transparently, and we can just take a bit of the excess glue away, but we do want enough glue there for them to stick together. Okay, you can just integrate it a bit and then push it together. There we go. Am I happy with my design? Yes, I think that's fine. Great, girls. And then I just want to show you one last thing before I say goodbye. One moment. I'll chat to you now. Hi, girls. So I have decided, I just wanted to show you that I am doing 3D frangipanis for this big artwork of mine. So I've decided, okay, I'll do a small one there. And this yellow one looks quite nice there. Then I've still got to color blend these ones and that one, and then decide where I'm going to put them. Okay, girls, so I'm very excited about my 3D artwork. And then another fun thing, I've also done pen and ink. Oopsie daisy. I've finished a petal and I still have to do 4 more, but that will also look quite nice. And on the back, I've just stuck black paper. Okay, girls, looking forward to art tutorial 3 in series 2, where I'll show you how to do the leaves. Bye, girls.